Xenomorph, a terrifying extraterrestrial species introduced in Ridley Scott's 1979 film Alien, has captured imaginations for decades. Its sleek, black exoskeleton, acid blood, and ruthless survival instincts make it one of the most iconic monsters in science fiction. As humanity reaches further into space and explores its own evolution through science and technology, the question arises: what is the future of the xenomorph? Will it one day conquer Earth, thriving in our world and reshaping its ecosystems? Or is the species on the path to extinction, a victim of its own unrelenting ferocity and the expanding intelligence of humanity? To consider the xenomorph's future, one must first understand what makes the creature so formidable. It is not merely a predator, it is the perfect organism, devoid of remorse, compassion, or fear. It adapts quickly, is biologically superior to most terrestrial life forms, and can survive in extreme environments. Its reproductive cycle is parasitic and horrifyingly efficient, using a host organism to gestate a chestburster, which then quickly grows into a mature, lethal hunter. This process allows it to not only replicate rapidly, but also to incorporate host traits, resulting in dangerous hybrid forms like the predalien or the human xenomorph variant. Yet, despite its terrifying capabilities, the xenomorph is not invincible. The franchise has shown that the species often falls victim to human ingenuity, military power, or its own uncontrollable instincts. While individuals or small colonies of xenomorphs can easily overrun isolated outposts or ships, they have never been shown to establish long-term control over any environment. In fact, they often face annihilation shortly after their discovery. In this light, their future is uncertain. To determine whether the xenomorph will conquer Earth or become extinct, we must examine several scenarios. One possibility is that the xenomorph is successfully weaponized by a powerful organization like the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. Throughout the Alien series, Weyland-Yutani has shown obsessive interest in the creature, seeing it as the ultimate biological weapon. If the company or a similar entity manages to capture and control a queen, it could theoretically breed xenomorphs for military or economic purposes. This, however, is a dangerous gamble. The xenomorph's lack of loyalty and its aggressive behavior make it nearly impossible to contain. Time and again, containment breaches have led to disaster, implying that any attempt to utilize the species for human benefit would likely result in catastrophic loss. Nevertheless, if a method is ever discovered to manipulate their biology, limit their aggression, or control their reproduction, they could become tools of conquest, paving the way for domination on Earth or other colonized worlds. Alternatively, a xenomorph infestation on Earth could occur accidentally. Imagine a scenario where an infected spacecraft crash lands on Earth, or a stowaway facehugger escapes quarantine. Given their adaptability, xenomorphs could begin populating underground tunnels, sewers, or remote wildernesses. Humanity might not recognize the threat until it's too late. Urban environments would become war zones, and conventional weapons might prove ineffective against them. As the infestation spreads, governments would be forced to use drastic measures, including nuclear strikes, to contain outbreaks. Such actions could result in massive casualties and the destruction of entire cities. In this scenario, Earth could fall, and the xenomorph would become the dominant life form, reshaping the biosphere in its image. While this is a grim possibility, the resilience and resourcefulness of humanity make it unlikely that such a threat would go unchecked for long. On the other end of the spectrum, extinction remains a real possibility for the xenomorph. Despite its strength and aggression, it is a fragile species in many ways. Its dependence on host organisms for reproduction limits its ability to expand unchecked. Without suitable hosts, the species cannot thrive. Furthermore, its instinctual behavior often leads it into traps or confrontations it cannot win. Unlike truly intelligent predators, the xenomorph does not strategize beyond its immediate environment. It cannot build tools, construct shelters, or engage in complex communication. While terrifying, it lacks the broader cognitive skills needed to establish long-term dominance. Moreover, as humanity evolves and strengthens its defenses, the xenomorph's advantages may diminish. Future technologies, such as advanced robotics, AI-driven surveillance, and energy-based weaponry, could counteract their stealth and speed. Bioengineered vaccines or specialized armors could prevent infection or protect potential hosts. Genetic research may eventually lead to anti-xenomorph biological agents, targeting the creature's unique physiology. If humanity can stay ahead in the evolutionary arms race, the xenomorph might become a relic, studied in labs rather than feared in the field. Another element to consider is the ecological impact of the xenomorph. Should it arrive on Earth in significant numbers, it could disrupt ecosystems irreparably. Its role as an apex predator would annihilate existing food chains. However, such disruption might not lead to their dominance. Ecosystems require balance, and overpredation often leads to starvation or collapse. The xenomorph, in eliminating its food sources, could contribute to its own demise. Earth's biosphere, while fragile in some respects, is remarkably complex. Introducing a single, hyper-aggressive species could trigger cascading failures, not just for native wildlife, but for the invader itself. Interestingly, the concept of the xenomorph's future has also been explored through the lens of transhumanism. Some speculative stories and expanded universe content imagine a merger between human and xenomorph DNA. Such hybridization might create a new species entirely, one that retains the intelligence and emotional range of humanity while incorporating the physical prowess of the alien. In such a case, the xenomorph might not go extinct, but evolve into a higher form. This evolution could result in a society capable of reason, communication, and even empathy, albeit one far different from any known human civilization. There is also the spiritual and philosophical interpretation of the xenomorph. Some characters in the franchise, particularly those obsessed with death or perfection, view the species as a representation of nature's brutal logic. To them, the xenomorph is not evil but pure, untainted by emotion or morality. If this philosophy gains traction in a dystopian future, certain cults or radical factions might willingly spread the creature's reach. In such cases, humanity becomes the vector of its own undoing, aiding in its potential conquest. While this seems unlikely on a large scale, history has shown that fanaticism can be a powerful force. Despite all its cinematic terror, the xenomorph may ultimately be a victim of its own simplicity. It reacts rather than plans. It kills rather than communicates. It cannot form societies or solve complex problems. Its evolution is biological rather than cultural. In a universe increasingly dominated by intelligence and innovation, the xenomorph may be left behind. Even if it persists in isolated areas, like deep space or remote planetary colonies, it may become more of a myth than a menace, a ghost story told by interstellar travelers. Nevertheless, the allure of the xenomorph remains strong. Its terrifying elegance, its haunting silence, and its monstrous purity continue to inspire fear. As long as humans venture into space, the possibility of encountering such a being will haunt the imagination. If nothing else, the xenomorph serves as a cautionary tale about meddling with nature, underestimating the unknown, and the limits of human control. Whether it is ultimately defeated, survives in exile, or transforms into something new, its legacy is assured. In the end, the xenomorph's future depends on a delicate balance between chaos and control. If left unchecked, it could wreak havoc on Earth and beyond. If studied, weaponized, or hybridized, it could change the future of life itself. But if overexposed, its weaknesses may outweigh its strengths, leading to extinction. Perhaps the most realistic outcome is a compromise, sporadic outbreaks, each met with fierce resistance, followed by long periods of silence. The creature lurks not in physical form, but in the shadow of human ambition, a reflection of our deepest fears and our relentless drive to conquer the stars. In this complex equation of biology, technology, and fate, the xenomorph's destiny mirrors that of many apex predators in history. Fearsome, efficient and dominant, until they are outmatched by a more adaptable force. Whether that force is human ingenuity, artificial intelligence, or the Xenomorph's own unsustainable aggression remains to be seen. For now, the universe holds its breath, and we watch the darkness beyond the stars, wondering whether the monster is waiting, evolving, or dying.